Hey there, welcome back to Pepper Geek. In today's video, I'm making a simple spicy relish. So relish to me is just one of those universal condiments. It's great to have it in the fridge. Perfect for hot dogs, of course, but also burgers, anything that comes off of the grill, and just thrown in with other various dishes you think it might be good for. So today I'll show you how to use up some of your jalapenos to make a really simple spicy relish. It's tangy and sweet. I could really just snack on this stuff on its own. And it will last a really long time in the fridge because it contains vinegar. It's primarily jalapenos, but just a few other ingredients that you probably have around the house. Okay, to start out, you're gonna need 3 or 4 jalapenos. You want about 3/4 of a cup, finely diced. I like to get them as fine as possible. That's just the texture of relish I prefer. Shoot for 1/4 inch cubes or smaller. I like to slice them into sticks to start and then turn them sideways and dice really finely from there. For the seeds, you can take them out or leave them in. I took some out. I also left some in. And I should be wearing gloves here because right now my eye is kind of on fire. So 3/4 cup of your finely diced jalapenos, add to that 1/4 cup of finely diced red onion. Go for the same size, really finely diced 1/4 inch cubes if you can. Then we'll need 3 tablespoons of sugar. I'm just using white sugar here. 1/4 teaspoon of salt. I just put them together because they're gonna go into the recipe at the same time. 1/4 cup of white vinegar. I tested with some balsamic vinegar, which was delicious, but it really affected the texture and the color of the relish. Using white vinegar leads to a nice clean taste and a bright, colorful look. I'll also be adding a few cracks of black pepper. And finally, our secret ingredient, I don't know if I can call it that, but 1/4 teaspoon of celery seed. This stuff is really potent, so you don't really need too much of it, but we're gonna toast up the seeds a little bit before we add the other ingredients to our pan. You could use fresh celery. I would add maybe 1 or 2 tablespoons of fresh celery, finely diced like the rest of the fresh ingredients. Celery even makes a really good base. If you didn't want to do a base of jalapenos, you could use celery instead, and then just add a little bit of jalapenos if you don't want it too spicy. So with the ingredients all prepped, let's get over to the stove and start cooking. Start by bringing a medium saucepan up to medium heat. Once the pan is warm, toss in the celery seed and toast it for about a minute. Just shake it around regularly until it starts to become fragrant. Then we're gonna add in all of our other ingredients, 3/4 cup of jalapeno, the 1/4 cup of red onion, 3 tablespoons of sugar and 1/4 teaspoon of salt, a few cracks of black pepper, and 1/4 cup of white vinegar. Stir that all up really nicely and bring it to a low simmer. Try not to let it boil too hard. I like to get it to a constant simmer. You want it to be bubbling, but you don't want it to be too vigorous. After just a few minutes, it'll start to smell amazing, but you might also start to sneeze a little bit. The spice from the jalapenos combined with the cooking vinegar can be kind of irritating to your sinuses. And I found that it takes about 10 minutes to get to the right consistency. You want most of the moisture to be absorbed, but you still kind of want it to look watery. You don't want it to start getting syrupy because then I find that it becomes too thick. Relish is supposed to have that sort of watery, liquidy texture to it. It is a condiment after all, but it's really up to you. If you like it on the thicker side, you could go a little longer, but I like it to be a little bit runny. I like it to have more of that liquid texture. Honestly, once you get all these ingredients into the same place, there's no imperfect relish. You could add a little bit of vinegar at the end if you want it a bit thinner, or you could cook off more of the vinegar and make it thicker. Okay, so this is simmered for about 10 minutes. We're gonna remove it from the heat and allow it to cool at room temperature for about 30 minutes before putting it in a jar. Okay, so the relish has cooled. As you can see, like I said, there is some liquid left. I like that. That's a little bit of the vinegar. It hasn't become a syrupy consistency. I feel like I always say this, but you could go hotter with this. You could use some habaneros or something even hotter if you want, but just be careful cooking those indoors. We've had some unpleasant experiences cooking super hots inside, so you might just want a hot plate. Bring that outside and cook it outdoors if you can. Okay, so this is cooled down just a bit. I'm gonna put it into this glass jar so we can see it. And the jalapenos did lose a little bit of their color. They're still green though, and you can see those beautiful flecks of red onion. Smells incredible, looks incredible to me. And I like to get every last bit of liquid. There you go. How about that? So you can see it did cook down quite a bit. This is less than a cup. We used about a cup of fresh ingredients, but it smells sweet, it smells savory. Unfortunately, I do not have a hot dog. I want one so badly right now smelling this, but I still do want to give it a taste for you. So, cheers. I could just eat all of that. It's got that crunch that you get from candied jalapenos. If you haven't seen our candied jalapeno recipe, it's got a very familiar crunch to it. Undertones of that celery, it's sweet, it's tangy, it's peppery, it's spicy. It's one of the best condiments you can make at home, and thankfully it's really easy to. As for storage, always put this in the fridge, even though there is vinegar in it and it would likely have a pretty low pH, but it'll last a really long time in the fridge, several weeks, but I don't think it will last that long because it's so delicious. I hope you enjoyed this video on our spicy relish recipe, and I hope you'll give it a try. If you do, let us know in the comments what you thought. And thanks for watching Pepper Geek. We'll see you next time.